So we're gonna switch gears now to the AFC East, and the New York Jets, subject of Hard Knocks, they made the big move with Aaron Rodgers, brought in Dalvin Cook recently into training camp. There's a lot of big personalities there, and now there's gonna be a whole lot of pressure on this team to deliver. So what do you think their ceiling is, Dom? And do you think they'll make the playoffs this year?
I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think the missing piece has been quarterback.
Absolutely.
Everybody said you plug in anybody else, that team last year makes the playoffs. You plug in Derek Carr, plug in Garoppolo.
You plug in even Matt White for the whole
Yeah,
year.
Mike White for the whole year, right?
White, yes.
Like, they make the playoffs. They had a top 5 defense. They have such incredible, explosive young talent in Garrett Wilson.
The backs,
Breece Hall,
yes.
Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight had some plays. They have a lot of talent.
Yes.
And then they brought in more talent this year. Lazard's there, and that's Rodgers' safety blanket a little bit. But people are talking about comparing Garrett Wilson taking the leap the same way Davante Adams did, which I'm not necessarily sold on that.
That's
but
a huge leap.
While they're different players, I think in terms of like ability to produce, I don't see why Garrett Wilson can't be an All-Pro, right? Because you put the ball. I just seen him make so many plays. It's just how often was a quarterback putting in his hands to make plays?
Yeah.
All
Pro is hard because there's so many receivers, but he will take another huge step forward. I mean, it's only natural, right?
But I definitely think they're going to make the playoffs. Are they a Super Bowl contender? I'm not sure, and especially because you still get the question about Rodgers himself in the playoffs, right? Where can he get it done? I mean, not granted, maybe
he's great at getting lost causes to the playoffs. Then even getting the question then is like the slow starts, and then they catch fire like after Thanksgiving, and then you see them either sneak in, or then the problem is in their wild card teams. That's another round you have to go into, and then they've always now flamed out in the NFC or now AFC Championship game. My thoughts are that I think they'll be a wild card team, and I think the biggest reason why they can't make that extra leap is the O-line. Everybody's been talking about this leaky O-line and the lack of protection because Aaron Rodgers is old, whether we like it or not. He is somewhat mobile, but he's not going to be running all around like Mahomes is, right? Those hits accumulate, and he's the best at throwaways and escaping hits. But I'm worried that there's just going to be that one time some guy misses an assignment, he ends up on his back, and then season derailed. So it's really hinging on that O-line to protect him, and then just opening up lanes for these very talented backs, because Breece Hall, I think, will be slowly coming back as Dalvin Cook will get some carries, and even Michael Carter, I think, it'll be like in stages. Like, you'll see more Michael Carter in the first half, and then he'll get phased out because they know that the season's a marathon, not a sprint. So I think, again, a lot of great individual pieces, and it's the question of if things go off the rails quickly, and that unfortunately could mean that Robert Saleh could be on the way out. As much as I hate that, because defensive-minded coaches, they have a very short leash, unfortunately. And ownership is very big on maybe now getting more glitz and glamour now with Aaron Rodgers there. And, there's this rumor being around that already Nathaniel Hackett is the OC. If they don't have a good season next year and Rodgers decides to come back, he does say that he wants to. You just elevate Nathaniel Hackett and he gets to run it back next year. But for this year, a lot of pressure, but I think they're a wild card team.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if they gave Hackett the keys after seeing what he did as a head coach already. But I guess Rodgers giving him some extra leeway would be great. Yeah. I think that Rodgers having the keys and being able to run his offense the way he wants to run it, not having to worry about too much motion or anything like that, just getting to the line and doing his thing, I think is going to be great. And I just think the defense, they're not really going to regress too much, right?
No, I think they honestly they could even get better. Another year of Sauce.
DJ Reed on the other side is still a dog.
Absolutely.
Mosley's still a dog. And then they just have so many pass rushers. They got, as Saleh being a defensive, minded coach, he's just going to get those guys right, similar to the 49ers. They just, I don't know how many people really love Rodgers, but I think people still want to see the Jets win, and I think there's a lot of good energy around them. And they're in a very competitive division, but they were competitive without Rodgers, and I think Aaron Rodgers should take them over the top. I'm curious to see what Dalvin Cook is going to look like, because you have that discussion between like analytics nerds and dudes that watch ball. Because yes, you know, Cook had over 1,000 yards. He's Dalvin Cook. He's gonna, you know, pop off every now and then, but his expected yards per carry is just dropping, and he's had a lot of like negative rushes.
It's a lot of like boomer bust.
Exactly.
If he doesn't hit the home run, it's like what is his value?
Yeah.
And that's always been his saving grace. He'll bust out a few 2-yard carries and then he'll take it to the house.
Very similar to like Saquon, actually.
No, that perfect analogy there, Dom. Yeah.
But he's just so much older that, like older than Saquon's, that I feel like the home runs are going to come less frequently. I don't know, when I think about Dalvin Cook, those home runs, how many of those are him making guys miss, right? How much of that is his athleticism versus him running through tackles and making guys miss? Like, he just doesn't seem as slippery as he used to be.